Oconto High School was occupied during the 1969-70 school year. It was officially dedicated on November 6, 1969. Fortunately, one aspect of the construction of the new building was captured by Carol Manette on film. I refer to the cornerstone laying ceremony that took place during the summer of 1969. That is the main subject of this presentation. However, a brief history of the high school is located in Oconto, along with special emphasis on the most recent building, will provide an interesting account of events leading up to the cornerstone laying ceremony. Back in 1886, the first high school classes were held in the old Jefferson School, which at that time was located on the southwest corner of what is now 2nd Street and Willow Street. Most present-day Ocontoans remember the high school when it was at the corner of Washington and School Streets, but most do not realize that the high school was housed successively in 4 school buildings on that very site. The first was a wooden structure, which was later moved to Main Street, enlarged and remodeled into a hotel called the Washington House. It later became the Blue Front Store, Panetti's Ben Franklin Store, the Oconto Pharmacy, and in 1996 remodeled again into a sports and cycle shop owned by John McTravers. The second school, which was replaced by the wooden structure, was a larger brick building. It was demolished after being struck by lightning and partly burned. The third, a 3-story brick building, much larger than its predecessor, was built in 1894. It had a pillared bell tower and was considered a handsome building in its day. When the bell was rung, it could be heard loud and clear all over town. Those of us who attended that facility fondly recall the towering fire escape on the east side of the building and the large study hall in the center section of the 2nd floor. What a thrill it was to slide down the silo-like tube from the 3rd floor, and what a treat it was to gather in the study hall for pep rallies, 2 to a seat. When the state condemned that building in 1939, the 4th building on that site was constructed as a WPA project. The center basement and the 1st floor section was maintained with a new 1-story school building built around it. During the 1939-40 school year, the classes of 1940, 41, 42, and 43 were housed in church and grade school basements, in the Presbyterian Church gym, and in the Armory, while the condemned building was being replaced. One of the largest gymnasiums in the conference and a new junior high school were added to this building in the 1950s and 60s, when the baby boom children became teenagers and every school was overcrowded. This building served as the high school until 1969, when a new high school, the present one in 1996, was built on the north end of Superior Avenue. It was a well-planned building with its well-lighted, wide halls, numerous classrooms, combination lunchroom study hall, large library, good-sized gym with an upper deck athletic facility, pleasant office suite, and a beautiful auditorium. Prior to a dedication ceremony on November 6, 1969, an estimated 700 persons toured the new high school at its open house Sunday afternoon and filled the auditorium to witness the dedication ceremony. The Board of Education at this time was comprised of Victor Reevy, President, Randall Manette, Vice President, Corliss Leitner, Secretary, and members Joe Brazo, George Drury, Robert Tilford, and Gilbert Tommy. Past members of the board who served during the planning period were Ann Fulton, Blair McQueen, Hallie Newland, and Charles Quirt. With me as Superintendent of Schools presiding, the dedication program included the following: Pledge of Allegiance, led by Tom Kurt, Vice President of the Student Council. The National Anthem, led by Jerry Dodds in the high school chorus. The Invocation and Benediction by the Reverend Robert Hollick, pastor of First Presbyterian Church. Welcome and introductions by Victor Reevy, president of the board. An acknowledgement for faculty by Alex Stepankas, principal. An acknowledgement for students by Joanne Jorgensen, president of the Student Council. 2 vocals by the high school chorus directed by William Ross, titled Thanks Be to Thee and Bless This House, and a dedication address by Archie Buckmiller, Deputy State Superintendent. And now we turn to the Cornerstone Lane ceremony, filled by Carol Manette. There were about 18 different items placed in the cornerstone. Among them, a copy of the Oconto County Reporter, a copy of the Green Bay Press Gazette, a history of Oconto, a history of the Oconto schools, numerous coins, a $1 bill, and a centennial coin. The program is being narrated by John LeMay and filmed by Michael Manette. Amen. The Superintendent John B. LeMay, acting as Master of Ceremonies for the program. Randy Manette, Vice President of the Board. Corliss Sleitner, Secretary of the Board. Joe Brazo, Board Member. George Drury, a Board Member. Bob Tilford, Board Member. Gilbert Tommy, Board Member. Blair McQueen, a former school board member. Hallie Newland, former school board member. A young lady from the community, LeMay, superintendent of schools. Alex Stepankas, high school principal. Jim Hermson, high school teacher. A girl student. And then we have L.W. Fulton, a former superintendent of schools in the Oconto Unified School District. Gina Manette, a little girl, depositing the centennial coin. Norb Schaefer, architect from Steubenrock and Associates, a grade school boy. And Mr. Schaefer, from the firm, pouring the cement for the cornerstone. And then the American flag, donated by the American Legion, is officially raised with participation by various legionnaires.